Have you ever wondered what truly disappears when people lose their jobs? Is it just money or something much deeper? Something that keeps a society alive? For centuries, thinkers have warned that work is not only about survival, it is about meaning. When meaningful work vanishes, entire communities start to unravel from within. Three powerful voices, Émile Durkheim, Hannah Arendt, and Simone, while each saw how the loss of work changes not just economies, but the human soul. Together they explain why societies crumble when labor loses its moral and spiritual center. We begin with Durkheim, born in 1858 in a France transformed by machines and factories. He watched an old world of small workshops fade into the smoke of industrial cities. Durkheim was not an economist, but a moral sociologist. He believed every job carried invisible threads connecting people to a larger whole, a network of duty, belonging, and shared purpose. When those threads broke, people felt adrift. Durkheim called this collapse anomie, a condition of moral emptiness where individuals no longer know their role or value. He studied how rapid industrialization left workers uncertain about their future and detached from their peers. Without stable meaning, life itself lost direction. Durkheim's most haunting finding came from his study of suicide. He discovered that economic instability and job loss could lead people to despair, not from poverty alone, but from disconnection. For him, a healthy society was like a body. Each person's work, however small, was an organ giving life to the whole. When work ceased to function, the entire body grew sick. Durkheim's world sought moral order amid chaos. But half a century later, Hannah Arendt would face a different kind of crisis: the emptiness of modern labor itself. Arendt, born in 1906, witnessed the rise of totalitarianism and the mass societies of the modern age. She asked, what happens when human activity becomes mechanical, stripped of reflection and purpose? In The Human Condition, Arendt divided life into three realms: labor, work, and action. Labor sustains the body, work builds the world, and action creates meaning through communication and freedom. Even as wealth grew, people felt more replaceable. Arendt saw that in a system where efficiency rules all, humans begin to resemble tools, necessary but never valued. She believed the tragedy was that true work, the creation of lasting things, had been lost to the rush of constant consumption. People focus on building faster, not building better. For Arendt, meaning returns only when people act and create within a shared world. Labor ends each day. Creation outlives its maker. Even in employment, one could feel unemployed in spirit. That paradox, Arendt thought, was the great emptiness of the modern condition. Where Arendt analyzed the loss of meaning, Simone Weil lived it. Born in 1909, she left her teaching job to work in factories, seeking to experience labor as it truly was for the poor. While described factory life as mechanical slavery of the soul, each motion repeated without thought, each worker chained to rhythm and noise. Yet she believed work could also be a sacred act if done with attention and purpose. Through genuine concentration, even physical labor could unite body, mind, and spirit. For a while, to work without meaning was to be exiled from creation itself. The unemployed and the overworked suffered the same wound: the loss of connection to purpose. She called this uprootedness, the feeling of being torn from one's place in the moral order of the world. Only by restoring roots, through just meaningful labor, could humanity heal. Together, these three thinkers form a complete vision of work's importance. Durkheim explained its social role, Arendt its creative role, and Weil its spiritual role. They warned that when work becomes empty, people turn anxious, isolated, and morally confused. Material comfort cannot replace the sense of being needed. History has only strengthened their warnings. During the Great Depression, breadlines grew not just with hunger, but also with a profound sense of shame and helplessness. Reflecting the deeper loss of identity and purpose that came from having no work to define oneself, Durkheim would have called that collective despair anomie, the breakdown of social solidarity. Weil would call it uprooting, Arendt would see the loss of the human condition itself. Their warnings still echo powerfully in our modern world, shaped by automation and artificial intelligence. When algorithms begin to replace human effort and judgment, society risks not only losing its sense of purpose, but also forgetting what it means to create meaning through work itself. Durkheim might remind us that no machine can replace moral connection. Arendt would warn that convenience without reflection leads to emptiness. Walt would ask whether we have forgotten the sacred value of effort. Meaningful work for them was a vital bridge between the self and the wider world, connecting inner purpose with shared life. To lose it is to lose one's reflection in the eyes of others and the sense of truly belonging among them. When that bridge collapses, even the glow of prosperity begins to feel hollow and uncertain. Once the deeper sense of direction and purpose has faded away, no amount of income or material success can ever restore a person's dignity. Their shared lesson is not to glorify labor itself, but to reimagine it. Work should be a way to participate in something enduring: society, art, or moral creation. Durkheim sought social cohesion through fair division of labor. Arendt sought renewal through thoughtful creation, while sought grace through humility and effort. Each offered a cure for the disease of emptiness. Durkheim's through moral solidarity, Arendt's through reflection, Weil's through compassion. They would all agree that work must ultimately serve life, not consume or dominate it. Societies that forget this essential principle soon discover that their wealth grows empty. Their success feels shallow, and their sense of shared meaning quietly disappears. Unemployment seen through their lens is not the absence of labor, it is the absence of belonging. Without belonging, people drift toward despair or indifference. To truly rebuild meaning, we must learn again to value genuine effort, sustained attention, and the quiet strength of cooperation. A society that becomes rich in shared purpose and human connection rarely suffers the deeper poverty of the soul. Even the smallest acts of creation, teaching, repairing, growing, have the quiet power to restore human dignity and hope. They remind us that we exist, not merely to produce or consume, but to care, to connect, and to leave gentle traces of meaning in the world. Durkheim, Arendt, and Weil never saw work as punishment. They saw it as the most human way of engaging the world, with reason, with craft, with love. Their ideas challenge us to look beyond jobs and wages. They ask whether our labor still expresses who we are, or whether we have become strangers to our own hands. When work ends, something must replace it: community, learning, creation, or shared purpose. Otherwise, even the wealthiest society will feel poor in spirit. Durkheim offers us the social lens, Arendt the philosophical, and while the spiritual, each revealing a different side of the same human crisis. Together, they illuminate with striking clarity the full emotional and moral cost of a world that has forgotten the meaning of meaningful work. The question remains timeless: what kind of work builds a human world? The answer begins not in machines, but in the moral imagination of those who use them. To work well is to live well, not through endless effort, but through purpose aligned with truth. That is what they each called, in their own language, the foundation of civilization. As we face another age of transformation, their wisdom returns like an echo. Without meaning in work, progress turns hollow. Without purpose, comfort feels cold. Perhaps the true question is not merely how to make people work again, but how to transform work so that it becomes genuinely worth doing, filled with purpose and meaning. Only then can society fully recover its spirit, dignity, and sense of shared human connection. If this exploration moved you, please hit like and subscribe. Join me for more reflections where philosophy meets the modern world, and together we can rethink what it means to work, create, and live.